Hello, I am back with another meal prep for keto. I'm going to attempt to do this with my daughter running around free, so this should be interesting. I made two meals here. I made a zucchini Alfredo with chicken meatballs and then a cauliflower mac and cheese. I'm kind of in limbo right now what I want to do with this YouTube channel. I don't know if I want to continue it, but until I figure that out, I figured I would still make videos and just see what happens. So these are very delicious and very low carb, so hopefully you guys try them out. Right now I am just prepping the cauliflower for the mac and cheese here. You guys will see that I pretty much have 3 different outfits on because I basically had a really busy weekend, and I just filmed and cooked whenever I was home. But this is really easy meal prep. I just cooked it on different days. So you basically just want the cauliflower in like bite-sized pieces. This is about 4 servings of mac and cheese with 1 large head of cauliflower. And then after I am done getting my bite-sized pieces cut, I get my spiralizer out, and we are going to start spiralizing my zucchini noodles for the Alfredo. This thing is amazing, and it was from Aldi, so it was like way cheaper than like the one that you can get like online or wherever. And I wish I was this fast at it. But I did about 4 zucchinis per big serving I did, because like I said, I meal prep for 2 different people. And it made, the zucchinis on one of the batches were kind of small, so I would say this made about 8 servings with I think 6 or 7 zucchinis. And then next up, we are going to make our chicken meatballs. I have never actually made chicken meatballs, so I did find a recipe and kind of just went off of that, but did my own thing. I don't know. Ground chicken grosses me out too, so I was not a fan of making these. But here is about 2 pounds of ground chicken. Any like herb will work, or I just had green onions in the freezer, so I just wanted to use them up, so I just threw green onion in, but if you have parsley or anything like that, that'll work. Now I'm putting some almond flour in because these are keto, so you want to use a gluten-free flour. And then next up I am putting some mayo in, I believe. I don't know, I guess eggs, sorry. This is a double batch, which it didn't, my meatballs must have been a different size, but here's the mayo. Because it said it made 18 meatballs, and I think I only made 24 with doubling the recipe, so my serving size must be a little bigger. And then I'm just seasoning it with random seasonings that I thought would be good. So I have salt, pepper, I did end up putting some dried Italian seasonings in it. And then, I believe garlic powder. And then in most cases, I would just recommend you mixing this with your hands if you're making regular meatballs, but I'm not touching chicken more than I have to. So I just set it up with a stand mixer, but I would think any type of like spatula would work, so this just made it quick and easy. And don't over mix it, just mix it till everything's combined because you don't want it to be like a goopy mess. And then I used like a cookie scooper to kind of make them all the same size. But I recommend when you do this to like flour your hands with almond flour, because it was gross and it sucked your hands like a lot. So I think that if you used almond flour to like kind of help form the ball, it will not be as gross and sticky. And this was the only time that my hands touched the chicken, and there was really no way to avoid it because I didn't have gloves, So, like I said, I think I made about 24 meatballs, and then I put it into a, oh gosh, I think it was 400, maybe 375, and I didn't show pulling them out or anything because I'm awesome at filming. Now this is getting ready for the Alfredo sauce. I wasn't really happy with this Alfredo sauce, but whatever. I found a different recipe, and I just should have gone off my original one that I always do. But that was just a shallot. These are both optional. It's not actually in the recipe, but that was shallots and garlic. And then I'm just shredding up that whole block of Parmesan cheese. And then we are going to melt some butter and then put my shallots and garlic in and just kind of let that marry together until the butter is all melted and it starts to bubble a little bit. And then we are adding the cream, which, like I said, I think this would have worked if I actually whisked it, but I don't have a rubber whisk, and the metal whisk scratches my Teflon pan, so I had to just whisk it with a spatula. But if you have like a whisk and it doesn't scratch your pan, I highly recommend you whisking it because that'll thicken up the cream and get a better consistency of a sauce. Mine just was really soupy and I was not happy with it. And then once it starts to just bubble, you don't want it to boil completely, which mine kind of probably did a little bit too much. You're going to season with salt, pepper, and a little bit of nutmeg. I recommend fresh nutmeg, like grating it, but I didn't have any, so I just used ground. And then you're going to throw in your Parmesan cheese. I always do fresh Parmesan. I never do already shredded. In any like pasta dishes, I always use like block cheeses and shred it myself because it's just way better, guys, okay? That's my number one tip. Always buy block cheeses and shred it yourself. And then you're just gonna like whisk it until the cheese is melted. I mean, you guys kind of get that, I hope. And then I'm throwing in my zucchini. This was the smaller serving that I made. This was for about 2 people. Like I said, my zucchinis were a little smaller in this batch, so this was for my grandparents. And then I just let that cook down, just kind of soften the zucchini. And then I also took some scissors and kind of cut the longer shreds that didn't really break up when you were spiralizing. So you're not like getting like foot-long noodles. And you just cook that till it softens. I did have a little oil in my pan, just to kind of make sure it doesn't stick, but that kind of copper pan is actually supposed to be a non-stick pan. So, and also if my mic sounds weird, I'm still trying to figure out how to mic myself, so if I was just kind of loud there before, I realized I was talking really loud into a mic, and hopefully I'm at a better volume now. So that's pretty much softened, and now I'm going to add some of my Alfredo sauce into that. I'm sorry, I have a cold, so I'm coughing, yay. And you're just going to incorporate that all together. Like I said, if you can tell, it's very soupy. I was not happy with this, but it'll work. And then I'm going to throw in the chicken meatballs. You can kind of see what they look like after they were cooked since I didn't give you any footage. They didn't really keep their shape, they kind of flattened, but whatever. I'm just kind of incorporating them in the sauce so they get some of the sauce on them as well, instead of just like setting them on top after I did the meal. And then I cooked the other one off camera, so I got my 2 servings here. Like I said, the one that's kind of, I guess, on the right side was about 8 servings, and the one that's on the left that I'm putting cheese on right now is about 2. And I'm just putting more cheese on because I had it and it looks nice for presentation purposes when I present my meals to my family and my friends. And we're gonna go right into, after I do some fun clips of this, into the cauliflower. mac and cheese, which turned out very good looking. Now I don't try these because I make them for other people, so I can't really tell you if it tastes good, but I always get good reviews, so that's good. And then there's the finished product. Yummy. I will think if it's after it sits, it will thicken a little bit, but I still wish it was just a little thicker to begin with. It just seemed really soupy to me. Alright, on to the cauliflower mac. You're just gonna put some cream into a saucepan and let that kind of heat up just a little bit until you just get some soft bubbles. And then once you get to that stage, you're gonna throw in, I did about 2 ounces of cream cheese. I haven't figured out how I'm doing the recipes yet. I'll either just link them down below or do a blog post. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet because some of these recipes are my own and some of these are other people's recipes, so I haven't figured out how I will be doing that. And here is, I think, outfit number 3, because this was the 3rd day I was making something. And then once you get that melted down, I also was supposed to put Dijon mustard in this, but I did not have any, and I didn't want to risk putting yellow mustard in because I didn't know what that would do with the paste. So I just skipped it all together. I don't think it's really a necessary thing. It just kind of probably gives a little bit more of a flavor, but I think you're okay if you skip it. And so you can see it's getting pretty thick, and this is pretty awesome without doing like a roux for mac and cheese. And then I just put in my own shredded cheddar, because like I said, I shred my own cheese. And I just basically stirred that until it was mixed well and melted, and then I'm spraying this with some coconut oil so the cheese and stuff doesn't stick to the sides. I put my my cauliflower into that, and then I cover it with the cheese sauce. It's pretty easy. This one's pretty easy, guys. It's a good meal prep. And look how gooey that is. I was pretty impressed with how gooey that was. And then you just mix it all together. And I should have seasoned beforehand, but I didn't, so I'm going to season the top of it with some salt and pepper. And then you're going to cover it with another maybe half cup of cheese. I made it with a little bit more just to kind of make sure all the edges were covered. And there you go, guys. That is it. So, like I said, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with these YouTube videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue it, but for the meantime, I am. So, if you like these keto meal preps, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I may or may not see you in the next video. Who knows? Bye, guys.